In 1994, Richard Cornelius decided to take a big left turn. He was tired of traveling from Montana to New Mexico as a field archaeologist, so the lifelong artist started hand carving wood. 14 years later, he's honed his craft, and he's gotten so good, he doesn't even make mistakes.
A mistake can be a happy accident.
In this line of work, happy accidents create originality.
You make it work, and the carving is the better for it.
Richard Cornelius works alone, carving out classics.
The main thing I like about wood carving is moving the material. The action of making that wood submit to what you want to do.
This is door number 175 on the all-time charts. But to Richard, it's not just a door. To the man with the vision, it is so much more.
A door is a portal into the house, and it's a portal into somebody's life.
And just who is that somebody? This piece of functional art helps tell their story.
You come up to somebody's door, and you may not notice it. It may be just another slab of wood blocking that hole, swinging on hinges in the wind. But if it's a decorative door, maybe it's carved, maybe it's painted, you may notice it and give you an idea of who lives behind this door.
Doors make up the majority of Richard's sales, but he also creates matching mantles as well.
I might carve 4 or 5 mantles a year, and hopefully 17 to 25 doors.
This is the first door Richard carved 14 years ago. It is an original, just like the 174 doors that followed it.
I'm not interested in duplicating something I've done in the past. I want to make it different. I want to make it better than the last one.
And his customers appreciate that. That's why they are willing to pay $3,000 and up, and everything is paid for in advance.
That door goes out, hopefully lives a good life in a good spot, and that's my legacy.
Richard enjoys the benefits of being his own boss. His time in the shop can vary greatly from day to day. He can work anywhere from a frustrating 2 hours to a fulfilling 12 hours, whatever it takes to get the job done. If you would like to see more of his work, head to the 1011 web channel and click on Lance's Journal. Six months ago, Chancellor Harvey Perlman fired NU Athletic Director Steve Peterson. Perlman turned to the past to build what he hopes will be a bright future. A decade after he finished his coaching career with his 3rd national championship, Tom Osborne returned to familiar territory. When Grant Wistrom introduced his former head coach to a packed house at the NU Coliseum on Saturday, the passionate roar of the athletic department donors said it all.
It feels very familiar, and I always have liked student athletes. I've liked coaches, generally admire what they do.
Coach Osburn has brought back the Nebraska way.
The reason the change was made, as I understand it, was that there was some concern about management style over here, and we had some unrest and some people leaving. And the early activity was to try to get everybody on the same page and to reduce the tension level, and I think that we've accomplished that to some degree.
From the smiles on the faces of Broderick Thomas and many other former Huskers, everyone is feeling good about Coach Osborne's first 6 months on duty.
The first couple of months were kind of bumpy because of the change in coaching staff, and then since then I feel comfortable.
10 years after winning his final national championship, Coach Osborne is now okay with supervising the football program from a distance.
The first 2 or 3 years out of football, it was very difficult. It had been such a big part of my life that to all of a sudden not have any input was very strange. I think now, 10 years removed, that's not as strong a pull.
The healing process for Husker Nation will take some time, but a spring game sellout speaks volumes.
I do think there is maybe a renewed sense of optimism, a little bit more of a renewed sense of unity within the state.
Coach Osborne back on the field that bears his name is reason to believe again for many fans in Scarlet and Cream, but there are no certainties.
My coming back here doesn't guarantee that that's going to happen, because I I'm no longer calling the plays. These coaches have to coach. It's up to them now. I hope it'll work out well, and I hope people will trust my judgment.
Coach Osborne was quick to remind Husker fans of what they are already well aware of. The financial future of 23 other sports at Nebraska rests squarely on the shoulders of the football program. Big Red football generates about 90% of the money that comes into the athletic department. Coach Osborne is committed to a 2-year deal that runs through June of 2010. Back in September of 2001, Doug McCallum was busy traveling the world as a consultant. He was working in Egypt when the terrorists struck New York on 9/11. Doug was in the American Embassy in Cairo when it was surrounded by tanks. He sat there and thought, when I get back to Lincoln, there has got to be something a little more safe that I can do for a living. The Waffleman was born.
Here you go, quickly. It's waffle time. Here we go.
Doug McCallum was introduced to the wonderful world of waffles a long time ago in Juanita, Nebraska.
I had grown up on these waffles, and my mother had made waffles. We had eaten waffles. My buddies would come over. We would eat Belgian waffles, whipped cream and strawberries, and just eat till we were almost sick. Had to have more than one, didn't you? It was so good you had to have another one.
Doug started this operation 6 years ago with no business background whatsoever.
But I tell you what I had, Lance, is I had a passion. I had a passion to help people. And so I just figured, you know, if I help enough people and they like what they have, they'll tell enough other people. And so now you know the rest of the story.
The overwhelming popularity of the Waffleman is best displayed by some downright staggering numbers. In 101 events last year, Doug served up 40,000 waffles, along with 73,000 sausages, 628 gallons of syrup, and buckets of whipped cream. And here's the most impressive number of all. The Waffleman helped raise almost $90,000 for charity in 2007.
Oh, you couldn't eat just one, could you? When you're doing it for the right reason, when you're just helping groups, in the end, everybody wins.
And the bonus of the whole deal is these waffles are pretty tasty. Just ask the pastor. He's a believer.
These are hands down the best waffles made anywhere. I promise, anywhere in the world. These are the best waffles. You cannot duplicate these waffles.
There you go. You cannot duplicate them, but you sure can devour them. There's only one remaining question. Are you going to be able to eat all of that?
Yes, I am.
One of Doug's favorite stories about Nebraskans opening up their pocketbooks for a good cause came last year at a Waffleman event that was set up for a woman battling breast cancer. There was no set admission at the door, just a free will offering. Well, it ended up bringing a tear to Doug's eye when he found out that friends and neighbors had graciously poured in $10,000 to help with the medical expenses. Desiree Johnston is a go-getter, and that's a big reason why the 21-year-old was chosen as one of 65 students in the nation to win this $30,000 scholarship. Scholars were selected based on leadership potential, intellectual ability, and my favorite, the likelihood of making a difference. She's on the move again. Desiree Johnston has always loved to travel.
It actually started when I was little. I would spend a lot of time in my backyard digging because I was convinced I could find China that way. Little did I know Dad was filling in the hole, little by little.
So her father didn't allow her to dig through the core of the earth, but eventually he got her to the Far East.
Mom and Dad always wanted me to know that there was life outside of orchard and outside of farming. So starting when I was in 4th grade, we started traveling. We would take an international trip every year. They would save up money, make a lot of sacrifices so we could do that.
The trips to China and Russia with her parents just whet Desiree's appetite to see the rest of the world.
I've been to Sri Lanka, India, Panama, and Swaziland. There's nearly 10 million people that consider themselves to be Baluchi there.
Desiree is hoping classes like this one on War and Peace will help her someday make a difference.
Right now I'm interested in international development work. Through the service trips I've taken, I've really enjoyed getting to know people on a first-hand basis. Step, clap,
Serving others around the globe is impressive enough, but back home,
cross,
Desiree uses dance to inspire elementary students in Lincoln.
Over winter break, we went to Southern California and we were working with inner city schools in Los Angeles. And one of them actually had this after-school dance program. And I just thought, well, if they can do this there, then surely it can be done in Lincoln.
At home or abroad, Desiree's advisor at Wesleyan believes she's on the right path.
I would expect to see her in some type of leadership position in the U.S. at some point in the future. Very clearly, she has that vision. She has the sense that she knows she can do it, and it will happen. I don't doubt that.
Yeah, you see, you can do it.
This is the 4th time the Truman Scholarship has been bestowed upon a Nebraska Wesleyan University student. The award was established in 1975 as a federal memorial to the 33rd president. It was August of 1954. Sir Hugh Beaver of the Guinness Brewery in Ireland printed the very first Guinness Book of Records. Ever since then, people around the world have been doing some pretty wacky stuff to get their names in that book.
Talking? Well, I think I was talking in the womb, to be quite honest with you. I think I said to my mother, let me out.
Fran Capo is the fastest female talker in the world.
Doing the fast talking March 5th, 1986. I broke the record on Larry King Live, doing 603.32 words a minute, 10 words a second.
Just to clarify,
What is he saying?
the stand-up comedian set the world record by doing 603.32 words per minute, or about 10 words a second.
And just being able to travel the world doing fast talking. I mean, how cool is that?
This will likely be the fastest rendition of Three Little Pigs you'll ever hear.
Once upon a time, the three little pigs. One little pig liked to sing, the second little pig liked to dance, the third little pig liked to sit and think. Then a big wolf came back. Little pig, and up every chee-chee-chin, off little voices, up to up. What's the next pig's house? Little pig, and up every chee-chee-chin, up to up. They got somebody to climb down. The chimney pig sat about a willing one, the wolf and they wolf soup. Tomorrow, war and peace.
26-year-old Mary McVeigh does her work with her speedy feet. She was only 16 when she set the world record for soccer ball juggling.
But in speed juggling, the idea is to get as many touches as quickly as possible. So the ball doesn't really move at all.
Mary set the record with 100 touches in 30 seconds. Kent French is the world's fastest clapper. The 46-year-old from South Dakota set his mark in 2003.
This is what 13 claps per second sounds like.
That's 721 claps in 1 minute. And finally, Nikki Shane is the world's fastest harmonica player.
104 notes in 20 seconds, that's what I play. You actually have to slow down the recording once you record that so you can hear the notes. Slow it down, play it back in slow motion.
Kind of makes you want to set your own world mark, doesn't it? But just so you know, for anyone looking to establish the new mark for direct, full-body contact with ice, well, your job just got a lot tougher. 3 weeks ago, a Chinese man destroyed the existing record by staying in a huge box of ice for 1 hour and 30 minutes. Ouch.